Chelsea Football Club sacked Mauricio Pochettino and Enzo Maresca came in, and we finally understand what happened behind the scenes. It's beautiful. It's exactly what I said. When I said it, everyone attacked me. I'm going to tell you the full story. Furthermore, Enzo Fernandez has recreated himself, and I'm going to give you the underlying numbers to why he recreated himself, and not stupid rumors that are made up on the internet about his wife and him divorcing. There's actual genuine reason to why this player is actually a good footballer. What changed? It is actually very obvious once you realize it. Furthermore, Chelsea are linked with a young superstar. And when I tell you Dario Isogo is a very good player, I knew about him even before these links. I wanted him at Chelsea even before these links. And like Pedro Neto and Joao Felix before, when we sign him, you're going to say, Alex, I like him. You wanted him a long time ago. So I'm going to bring you the latest news about that. And finally, we've got news on Disasi's future and some troubling news for Ben Chilwell, because he hasn't been playing football for 6 months. And it looks like he ain't going to be playing football for another 6 months. However, before we get started, I want to say thank you to every single one of you, because the numbers have been absolutely unreal recently. We have absolutely smashed it this year. New levels, new achievements, new accomplishments. I want to say thank you. But your support does not go unforgotten. So what I ask from you again is keep supporting the channel. Hit that like button. 1,000 likes goes a long way. Subscribe to the channel. We're 93 people away from 38,000. I want to hit that. And finally, if you guys want to buy me a cup of coffee as a thank you very much, super chats are below and I will be responding to anyone that does one of those. But let's get started. All right, it's time to talk about what happened last year. Right, we had Mauricio Pochettino come in. Chelsea finished in 6th place. You all know the gist. The first half of the season was disgusting. The second half of the season got better on paper. However, if you were there and you watched those performances, broski, we weren't keeping no clean sheets. We were scoring goals. However, we were leaking them for fun, to the point when this season we've already conceded 19 goals, but people are saying our defense has stabilized. So let that sink in. What happened? Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart compiled apparently a 100-page dossier and handed it to Igbali, explaining why we had to sack Mauricio Pochettino. The decision was then made, and there were two camps. There was the camp of Igbali that said, look, we finished 6th place. We were in the semi-final of the FA Cup and we lost in the Carabao Cup final, but he has to go. He has to go. And then we had the other camp of Todd Boehly. Todd Boehly said, no, we need some stability. We need to make sure this manager's backed. We need to give him another chance. We need to give him another year. I am so happy that we listened to Igbali. I was calling for it then, and I'm telling you now, nearly halfway through the season, we made the right decision. We've got structure. We've got players performing better, players absolutely articulating themselves, and all of a sudden, players that were worth £100 million are playing like £100 million players. And the reality is, a lot of people in the first international break this season started off saying, we need to get Clearlake out of this club. I think it's the opposite. I never took a side. I never said I want to be Team Todd Boehly. I never said I want to be Team Clearlake. I said keep them both, and you guys called me a fence sitter because I said they keep each other accountable. If we have to choose, I'll choose right now. I'm going Team Clearlake. Clearlake make decisions based on logic rather than emotion. Todd Boehly, with this decision, was showing me he wanted to listen to the fans, which I don't like because fans are emotional. I am an emotional individual. When it comes to my club, I will react at the heat of the moment straight after the game. I need to calm down. I don't need an ownership that will listen to me and do exactly as I say 15 minutes after a game. I need them to calm down, collect all the information, think about it logically and say, what is the best for the club long term? This is what Clearlake have done. They have reduced our wage bill. They are producing young talent. They are making sure we're competitive on the pitch. And they're making sure that they've got a manager to oversee this whole project that understands his role and responsibilities. He knows he's not there to say, I want this person. He's there to say, yeah, you know what? I'll take him once you offer him to me. It's so much easier, clear, concise roles and responsibilities. I'm so happy with this season. I'm so happy with this team at the moment. And I'm really proud of what we're starting to build on. Next step, I want to see 2 trophies by the end of the season. I want to see either an FA Cup or a Club World Cup. And I want to see a Conference League. And I want to finish in the top 3. That is the goals to make this season super successful. Chelsea Football Club have a player called Enzo Fernandez that has been criminally over criticized. Genuinely, the kid has joined Chelsea from Benfica. Prior to that, he was 6 months at Benfica, came to Chelsea 2 years in. A lot of people started calling him fat. A lot of people saying he's not good. A lot of people said he's just a waste of money. Some people were telling me give him away for 10 to 15 million because he's not good enough. All of a sudden, something's changed. And Enzo Fernandez, for the last 2 months, in my opinion, has been, if not Chelsea's best player, definitely second best player. Him and Moises Caicedo have been running that pivot like £100 million each players. Genuinely, they were phenomenal. There's the players that you can count on now on a week in, week out basis to drop a 7.5 out of 10. Genuinely, passing range, physicality, ability on the ball. Both players are just ticking every single box. However, what's changed? Because in the first 9 games this year, and then the next 6 games, the numbers are saying 2 different stories. And if you look at it this way, passes in the opposition half, Enzo originally was doing nearly 34 passes. Now, in the last 6 games, 42. Just tells you he's getting more touches and more passes. Chances created, he went from 1.5 to 2.7. That's an increase. Shots, 0.8 to 1.91. And Enzo Maresca spoke about this a few days ago, or I think a few weeks ago, and he said, we're teaching him the role. He's understanding his responsibilities, and he's understanding and he's buying in. And for me, the next 2 stats are the difference. Distance covered hasn't changed more. He's only ran 400 meters more, right? So it's 11 and 11.4. So it's not much. However, the sprints, that's where it's changed. The intensity, the fitness work. He's gone from 10.3 sprints to 19.3 sprints. This man has really elevated himself. And what it tells me is nothing was better for Enzo Fernandez than getting dropped. The minute he got dropped, it gave him that kick up the backside, and it told me a lot about his character. I know who Enzo Fernandez is now. When things get tough, he stands up and works harder and gets counted. In this case, we're starting to see Enzo Fernandez that we expected when we purchased him. A lot of people were harsh on him because of his performances. That is totally correct. A lot of people were overly harsh on him and saying he's not worth it at all. That's unfair. For me, if he performs the way he's performing, we are going to be a very successful club this year. And I absolutely love the reaction from Enzo Fernandez. And for me, he's in the top 5 players for Chelsea this season. Genuinely, very good performances. I'm proud to have him in my midfield. This next player, not many of you will know a lot about. The reason I know about him is because my wife is Portuguese. And whenever I go back to Madeira, I end up building friends, you know. I meet people, I talk to them, and I talk to them about football, start having contact, and then I start finding out about youngsters in Portugal and what they're telling me. So they tell me names to keep out for. One of the names they told me 2 years ago to keep out for was Dario Isogo. Dario Isogo is a centre midfielder that came through the Sporting Lisbon Academy. He went on loan last year in the Portuguese league, came back, and this year he's been sent out on loan to Las Palmas. Las Palmas in La Liga. And what's been really interesting in is he had 12 appearances and he's got 1 goal. However, and this is where he gets interested, Chelsea are now interested in it. Chelsea Football Club are looking to acquire the services of Dario Isogo purely based on the fact that they believe he's got great potential, and what they want to do is either buy him outright and loan him to Strasbourg, or Strasbourg buys him and keeps him as a replacement for André Santos. For me, we need to get this deal done. This kid is cold, man. This kid can win challenges, super athletic, he's good on the ball, he's box to box, he's the traditional André Santos midfielder. He is the Caicedo of midfielders. He can do 6, he can do 10, he can do 8. So he's not Caicedo in terms of he can do the 10 role, but he can crash the box well. And I think Caicedo can do that as well. Late runs into the box, getting into the final third. We just haven't needed him to do it, so we're not seeing it. But when you look at Caicedo play for Ecuador, he's pulling the strings, he's passing the passes, he's connecting everything. He's that old school traditional 8. You know, the ones that can do both sides of the game. And for me, Dario Isogo is one of those players. We need to get this player. Honestly, when we sign him, if we sign him, you're all going to say, Alex, you told me about it. He is class. Genuinely, go watch some comps. Try catch a Las Palmas game if you can. Honestly, I am so excited if this deal comes through. I know it's a source that is coming from Spain. However, that's how it starts, right? The next story both come from The Sun and Nazir Kinsella. The first one's regarding Axel Disasi. A couple of days ago, there were stories suggesting that clubs in Italy were looking at Disasi, as well as French clubs, and Badiashile as well. However, it looks like Badiashile is set to be staying at Chelsea. And this makes sense, right? At least for January, we need to keep Disasi and Badiashile. And I'm going to explain to you why. Both players have a role to play. And in Disasi's case, Disasi is fit right now. We've got Toussaint, we've got Disasi, we've got Josh Achimpong for that right-hand side. Other than that, we don't have anyone else because James is hurt, Fofana's hurt, Badiashile's hurt for the left-hand side and can try to play on the right-hand side. So we're down to literally 4, 5, maybe 6 defenders for 4 positions. That's not a good place to be in, so we're not in a position to be selling anyone. Am I Disasi's greatest fan? No, I don't think Disasi's good enough for Chelsea. I thought yesterday he had a good game against Everton. However, overall, I don't think he's up to the par at Chelsea. On the ball, he's slow. I think he's overly aggressive. He cares more about the physicality side of the game rather than reading it and making life easier for himself. However, we can use him till the end of the season. He's a great squad player and he has great influence around the squad. You can really tell. Like, he is somebody that is highly respected in that dressing room. You can tell by the way that Malo Gusto's spoken about him out loud, Nkunku's spoken about him, Wesley calls him Big Boss Disasi. It's one of those things where you need to respect the player and the morale in the dressing room. You can't just rip players out because it'll cause problems. The second story is regarding Basic Ben. Basic Ben Chilwell has got a little predicament on his hand. Look, Ben Chilwell earns a heck of a lot of money. He's got a contract that he's not fulfilling at the moment. He's earning £210,000. When you earn that kind of money a week, you're meant to be contributing on a weekly basis. Enzo Maresca doesn't rate him. Chelsea did everything to exclude him and then slowly reintegrated him into the first team to train. But since that one game, he hasn't been in and around the squad at all. They're basically forcing him out. And there are no suitors. No one wants to take him at those wages. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to Ben Chilwell because January's right around the corner. His wages are so crazy, no one's going to pay for him. What do you do with a player that's like that? Genuinely, what do you do? Because you can't just write that off. It's a PSR hindrance. But at the same time, no one's going to pay him that money and take him on those wages. You're going to have to find the balance. I think we're going to loan him somewhere. There was a shout of sending him to Strasbourg because they need a left back. I don't think he'll do that. I don't think he'll do that. I genuinely don't think he'll have the motivation to go and play in a mid-table team in France. It is what it is. I'm a bit confused and I'm really excited to see what happens. January is going to be exciting. But before we finish this video, go over here and check out my review for the Everton game. Some of the meltdown from people was crazy. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So let's get started. Peace out. I'm out. Hit a like button on the way out. 1,000 likes goes a massive way. Peace. Bye.